Okay, well, it is 4 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Let a couple people in. Sorry.
Here, I'll take care of
joining
that.
right at 4. Okay.
Lauren,
I
I'll
can't
take
talk
care
and then miss people. There's too many people. Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining our webinar today. We're going to be, Kevin is going to be teaching us how to lead Christianity or Life Explored, really Discipleship Explored as well, courses virtually, which is something we've all had to get used to doing in this world that we're living in right now. So we're glad that you are joining us. Just a reminder for some housekeeping. We will have some time for Q&A and discussion, but when we're not doing that, if you could keep your microphones muted, just helps with any feedback and stuff like that. So I'll try to be on top of that, but if you can just go ahead and check and see if you're muted, that would be great. And then we have a couple of announcements or just of upcoming events. If Kevin, you want to share your screen.
I'm doing that. Yep.
Sorry, I'll admit a couple people.
Yeah, here we go. Share screen. And here we go.
Awesome.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so our upcoming events, these are actually not webinars. Both Kevin, Alan, and I together will all be actually starting some online Christianity Explored courses. So the first one you see here, this is going to start next Wednesday, August 12th, and it's going to be run on Wednesday evenings for the next 7 weeks. And this is an online Christianity Explored course, we just like to say for everyone. So if you're interested in going through the course, or if you have maybe a non-believing friend who has expressed interest or you'd like to invite, this is for you and this is for them. So we've already gotten quite a lot of interest in this one, and we just look forward to having people from probably all around the states are going to be joining us for this. So I'm pretty excited. And then on Thursdays, this is starting August 13th, Kevin is going to be running a Christianity Explored online course, but this is kind of more specifically for those who are wanting to be trained to lead their own course. So this will be just all Christians on this course. No non-believers will be here. And this, we'll be presenting the same material, but more on the side of more of a training capacity. So if you are kind of anxious about leading a course because you haven't gone through one yet, either one of these would be great. But if you want like specific training, then I would say sign up for Kevin's. And we have a feedback form at the end of this survey where you can sign up for either one of those, and then I will send you the registration so that you can go ahead and get that on your calendar. So and then one more upcoming event. This one we don't have, I forgot about it. We are planning on getting Nate Morgan-Locke, which if you have done Life Explored or Soul, or I believe CUY, he was an author and presenter on all 3 of those. And so he's been just a huge partner with us in Christianity Explored Ministries. He's going to be hopefully sometime this month doing a webinar with us, possibly talking about, he loves storytelling and using storytelling in the way that we present the gospel. He's a super creative guy. I'm excited to meet him virtually, and so we hopefully will be getting more information from him soon. So just be on the lookout for that. Okay, that was all the upcoming events. I think I got it.
Okay.
And then
I'll take care of the poll after. How about we do that? So
after the prayer?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
all
I'm
right.
Alan Aver, the Executive Director of Christianity Explored USA, and I want to welcome everyone here for this latest installment of our webinar series. We are aiming to do 2 webinars a month that are going to be very practical for helping you. We've had good response to the webinar so far. I don't know how many people here have joined in past webinars, but we welcome you here to the one today. We want to pray now for our time together. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the people that are joining us from all over by electronic means. And we pray that even as we go through this, that this might help us understand better how to use electronic means, particularly for evangelism, for outreach and discipleship. So guide our time together, that it would be pleasing in your sight, but also helpful for all involved. And we thank you for this opportunity in Jesus' name. Amen. And now I'll turn it over to Kevin Allen, our Western Region Director.
Great. Thanks, Alan. As we get going, you can imagine a topic like this, running Christianity Explored online, is a pretty broad topic. And we also realize that a lot of you, that you all may be coming from different backgrounds. Some of you may have run the course in person several times. Some of you may be brand new. And so if you would do us a favor, we're going to put a poll up here just to help us know where you're coming from. And this will allow us to know, your background, and it will allow us to tailor this presentation a little bit. I've run the series several times, even if you've run it like, let's say, once or twice in comparison to a veteran who's run it, let's say, 5 times or more. That's kind of what we're getting at there. And if you've already clicked on an answer, that's too late. So that's all right. So at any rate, we look forward to getting some feedback here. Also, one of the things we are going to offer, as if you take our survey at the end, is because this is a huge topic, and we have, a half hour or so, 40 minutes together, and then we're going to open up to Q&A. We want to offer some personalized coaching to you. I think that's one of the things we can do well with over Zoom in the month to come, and so we would love to provide that for you. Just click that on your survey afterwards. In regards to you want to get 30 minutes of coaching with Alan or with me, we would love to provide that. So that's one way to help. So it looks like most people are somewhere in the middle. We have 46% of people have run the series several times, and we have about 40% who have never run it. So this actually flows into what we just talked about in these series that we're running coming up with Alan and Lauren leading Christianity Explored online, the traditional course, which you can bring your non-believing friends to. That would be a great place if you're just trying it out for the first time. If you're familiar and you want to really learn about leading it, as Lauren talked about, the fact I'm running one starting next Thursday, and the aspect of that will be we're going to run it as a traditional course. We're just going to put in a bunch of parentheses as we go. But we're going to hit the pause button and offer some best practices. We are probably going to do a little bit of role playing in that, so you can experience what it's like to be in a group. But we're also going to be coaching you to lead your own table. So that's the difference between both of those, and both could be valuable. And you can join both. We will double the fee of 0 if you do that. So anyway, so this is good. This is helpful. Thank you for that. And that is useful in light of knowing where we're going. So some of this, if we don't cover enough or if we cover too much, that's why we're offering the personalized coaching for you. All right, as we get going, I'm going to share my screen again. And we are going to click through next place. Okay, I would like to start off with just some of actually before we even start, I don't know why you're here, other than maybe you're free this afternoon, but I would assume that you're interested, obviously, in running it online, but your level of confidence can vary from, okay, I have great confidence in this, or, you know what, I'm just getting myself going. If you would take a piece of paper out in front of you or keep a number in your mind between 1 and 10, how confident are you that you can do this, that you can run Christianity Explored online? We're going to ask you a number now, and then we'll ask you a number at the end of the session. And our hopes are that those numbers go up and not down. If they go down, I get fired. So we'll just put it that way. So up and not down. So where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? How confident are you that you can do this? Let's start off with some of the benefits and challenges of running Christianity Explored online. And if we probably won't cover everything in this, and you may think of some, I'd love to have you share those in the chat as well. And Lauren can feel free to interrupt me and share those as we go. I love interruption. It's where I thrive. And so some of the benefits that we have seen about running Christianity Explored online, and now we're doing this with the experience of having run Christian Explored in the spring and summer, we've seen many churches use this. And one of the first great benefits is we're not restricted by geography. If you heard Rico at our national conference online, talked about the fact that really the walls of the churches are coming down, and the fact that we're having to reach out. We're having to go beyond the walls of the church because people can't come into the church right now. And so here are some of the benefits is you can have family members in your church invite their family members from across the country to join your Christianity Explored or Life Explored. And you may find that these are people who may live across the country and could never come to a Christian Explored at your church. So there's some benefit to that, and they may come along. Along with not being restricted by geography, we're going to see there's the benefit of having not being a restricted time with time zones and that type of thing. You have some flexibility in that as well. We also see that some people would never come to a church or even to someone's home, but they are willing to be a little bit more anonymous. You might find in running Christian Explored online and Zoom, like we have in our group here, there's some people who won't show their face. And we still love them, and we still love you if you're not showing your face right now. But they'll have people who want to remain anonymous. I remember in running Christian Explored at Village 7 in Colorado Springs, there was one guy who came to our Christian Explored series, I'm going to say for 3 or 4 years, twice a year. It took about a year to get his first name out of him. He did tell us he was invited by someone in the church, but would never tell us who that was. And that person never knew that this guy ever attended. And he was very reluctant to share any information. And you're going to find that even more so online. People are going to be a little bit more reluctant. At All Souls Church in London, Rico shared the story about his 90-year-old neighbor who could not physically make it to the Christianity Explored course at the church, but she can come to his house next door, and then they can enjoy some time together. And so right now they're participating that way. We also see with COVID-19, it's our best option. It probably is our only option in the fall, because in most places, gathering around a table and a meal is not a real option. And so it is your best option. And so let's learn how to do it well and learn from it. Another benefit is right now, we see people are more comfortable with Zoom and other methods than they ever were before the pandemic. And we've learned that ourselves. We're more comfortable with it. But also one of the better benefits is this keeps evangelism front and center. It allows you to practice and to keep it going, even if you're not always getting a bunch of non-believers taking the course. You're equipping your people, because 3 things take place every time the Christian Explored series is offered. Non-believers hear the gospel, believers hear the gospel and are encouraged, fall in love with it again, are transformed by the gospel, and believers are being trained to share the gospel. So if even 2 of those things take place, that is of radical benefit to your church. So, and that is church, not trutch. Down there. I'm going to change the page quickly before you see my misspelling. All right. Here are some of the challenges. I just want to be upfront with some of the challenges we have with it running online. It's not perfect. Relationships are much harder. Right now, even running this PowerPoint and showing this to you, I see of the 30 or so people, or I don't even know how many people are here right now. Here, I can see 5 of you, and your eyes are about the size of the tip of a pencil. And so I can't read your eyes. I love being able to finding out where people are at, and I can't do that very well in the Zoom's meeting. It's not quite as well. There's no meal option. Now, quite frankly, why did I join Christianity Explored on the staff? Because I love eating. And I love doing the meal component. I think it brings people out of their shell. And we just don't have the benefit of that, of building the relationship over the meal. Now, I suppose you could do like Grubhub or something, and bring somebody food, but that's not what we're asking you to do. You just missed that component. One other thing I have seen in running Christianity Explored online is we encourage people to allow awkward silence in Christianity Explored. Like it when you're sitting around a table, it's okay to let it go quiet. It's really hard for some of us. It's hard for me, but to learn in person to allow some quiet time around the table for people to ponder, that becomes even more awkward, I think, online. I'd love to get your feedback on that one as well. And so along those lines, because awkward silence is more awkward, I've seen people who have run Christianity Explored online and Life Explored online during this time have to be a lot more intentional about drawing people out. You know, we oftentimes say with Christianity Explored, you won't be asked to sing or pray or read out loud. I've often told people they could be remain silent, but in a Zoom type meeting, I think it is important for people to feel included. And so using their names and saying, hey, what do you think about this? I've seen that done well, even by someone who doesn't have a clue, and they would say, well, you know, I agree with what John said. Or I agree with Holly. And so those are great ways. You have to be more intentional about this, about drawing people out. And so those are some of the challenges. I want to, some of you may have already run this online. And so I'm going to break away from the PowerPoint for just a second and get some feedback from you all. Other benefits and challenges that you can perceive or questions about just the general running it online. We'll talk about the tools we have available for you in just a second. So logistics, don't ask questions about logistics, but any questions you have more about just setting this up online. You can unmute yourself if you want. Wow. There you
Kevin,
go.
one thing, I can share something. We actually ran a poll in the UK. Well, the UK sent it out. I think churches from all over the place filled it out. And I was going through the results today, and it was about, you know, have you run a Christianity Explored course online? And if so, why would you not do it again? And one benefit that I hadn't thought of, but that almost, I mean, probably 50% at least of the churches mentioned, is that it made parents with young children it was really good for them. And so thinking about how to reach younger people in your church, younger families who really don't have the time to come on weeknights because they don't want to do childcare and all that kind of stuff. It seemed like many churches found good success with running it online and would consider running it online maybe once a year, even going forward, even just for the childcare aspect. So I thought that was interesting.
Excellent.
And then we also had one veteran Christianity Explored leader up in Ontario say that there's people in her community that she knows are never going to come to something in person. Just there's too many obstacles, too many barriers from where they are in relationship to Christ, but are willing. And I think this is just magnifying something you've already said, Kevin, but that this is an opportunity for you to think about a new group of people to invite that haven't come when you've invited them to Christianity Explored courses before.
Yeah, and it may be an entry into a traditional course down the road if they become familiar with this and build some relationships. So that's huge. One thing I noticed, a friend of mine up the road here in Oregon, Peter, is at a Countryside Church. They're running Life Explored right now. Another benefit is, we were just talking on Monday, and they would have never run a Life Explored the first week of August if in a traditional setting, because people are gone on vacation typically. So right now, in the midst of this pandemic, people are traveling less, so there is more flexibility of being able to offer it online at non-traditional times. As Lauren pointed out, you can even do it weekdays. Traditionally, I would find the Christianity Explored was oftentimes best received probably on a Sunday evening, typical, because people would have more time, but you have some time in the evenings now as well. So you're not as constricted by time. Any other thoughts along those lines? Okay, go back to share my screen then. Before the course, these are things we would share about running a traditional course, but it's equally or more important to know this stuff before running a Christianity Explored online. Just some things to have in your back pocket. The first one would be sure to invite people. And so encourage people in your church. We're going to give a tool that's useful for Life Explored, but we have some stuff with Christian Explored as well for the church itself being able to promote it via video, but invite people, have people invite people personally. Even as Alan has just mentioned, there are some people that you may have given up on because you've invited them to the traditional course, but you offer something on Zoom or some other platform, they may be more receptive. We actually find that 99% of the people who come to Christian Explored by personal invitation. I think our number one question we're always asked is, how do you get people on? As if there's I wish we had like the magic bullet app where we just say we can zap people and they'll come on the course. It has yet to be developed. If any of you can develop that, we'd love to get that. Right now, we're having to do things by personal invitation. That's shocking, isn't it? That we actually have to reach out that way. If you're running it online, just like running Christianity Explored in the traditional setting, get to know Mark's Gospel. Read through the Gospel of Mark 5 or 6 times before running the course. You can do it in about 30 or 40 minutes. It is very accessible, but you want to know Mark's Gospel. You want to get to know the handbook and the leader's guide. Make sure you know it inside and out. That you write your best notes for your week in your handbook, so you're ready to go. Get to know the films. Watch them. A note on the films right now through the end of August or September, Alan and Lauren, that they're available on YouTube.
Through August 31st.
Through August 31st. Okay, thank you. They are available for free on YouTube. We'll give you the link to our YouTube site here in a minute. They are always available on our leader site. You can stream there. And so we'll encourage you to go there. We actually have a video about how to use our leader site on our YouTube place as well. They're also available. This is a secret bit of information which few people know. If you go to Amazon Prime, the Christian Explored and Life Explored series are available there as well. So you can watch them that way, but get to know them before you do that. Get to know fellow leaders. Be prepared to have other leaders with you so you can break out into breakout rooms. One of the things when I was watching and a part of a course that was run out of the UK, they did a great job dropping 4 or 5 people into a room and having a separate leader for each room. So have some people who are willing to walk with you so that you don't have to manage 10 people yourself. You can make this much more accessible. Prepare for difficult question. Our leader's guide is perfect for that. Especially so if you're opening this up publicly, it's very possible you may get some folks who want to be as obnoxious as possible the first few weeks, and be prepared just to how to deal with them gently and to bring them along. God may be still working in their heart, so that's very useful as well. And most of all, we emphasize this in our last webinar last week. We're going to try to emphasize this every webinar. Pray. Think of those you can be praying for. Actually, you probably should have started with that one. Pray before inviting people. Think through those 5 people in your life, but also pray for the course. Satan wants to get and break up the work of evangelism. He doesn't want people to see who is Jesus, why did he come, and what it means to follow him. And so he directs all of his attention at that one primary objective, preventing people from seeing the identity, mission, call of Jesus. And so understand this, that we're in the midst of a spiritual battle. Pray for those things that can cause hiccups. People's internet going out at the last minute, that type of thing. And so be in prayer for the course. All right. Here's the very practical logistics side that we want to provide for you. I'm going to keep this slide up for a little bit. I'll probably show you some of these things as we go. So I'll break away from this and come back. This is our resources we have for you. This is hopefully why you came. And we can provide this list in an email we'll send people. I'm just mentioning that to Lauren now. I think this might be a nice thing to put in a follow-up email. the first thing, we have two different major categories: what we can provide for you directly, and then secondly, what we can provide for you online. So the direct involvement is something that we'll send to you from a staff level. The first one is coaching. If you are wanting to run Christian Explored for the first time, we'd love to spend 30 minutes with you, getting to know you better, helping you get to know us better, and helping you take those first steps. One of the things I'm going to show on a future slide here is a page we have developed in your next step. There's always a next step in building an evangelistic culture in your church. Think through right now, if you're going to run Christianity Explored at your church or in your home, online, how can you take the next step? Whether that means, hey, this time through, I'm going to invite 3 key people in our church to be exposed to Christianity Explored. That may be the best next step in evangelism for your church. Or it may be, our church has all kinds of people just fearful. They have family members or friends who are fearful of death right now. We've got to run Christianity Explored and give people hope. This is the next best step for us. So we want to provide coaching and help you think that through. We want to give you, some next steps, and you don't have to eat the whole elephant at once. You take it one bite at a time, and our goal here is to help you see this in bite-sized format. The second thing we can provide for you, because a lot of churches we were finding were doing this, and it takes up a significant amount of time, is creating a PowerPoint for running CE via Zoom. I'm going to show you what one looks like here momentarily, but a couple notes on this. In the PowerPoint, which we can provide for you, you'll have a checkbox in the survey. It has the videos embedded. So we are assuming a couple of things: that you and your church have already purchased either a leader's kit or the videos from Christianity Explored. And if so, you mark that in the box. We would love to provide this for you. We just don't want to rip off our publisher. That's not right for them. But we also realize during this time where you're not meeting in person, it's harder to give out written material, and you're not showing the material on a big screen at the church or in a home. You're dispersing it. We want to provide a way to do that. So we're going to provide it by PowerPoint. Along those lines, our encouragement is to try to find out who can join you for week 1. And we realize you may not know, and if you can find that out, you can purchase one copy of the participant guide electronically and send this to them ahead of time. And then as people show up for week 1, we encourage you to buy participant guides and put this in the mail to them. This will help them connect. We'll have it in front of them. It should be fairly cheap to put in the mail. And that way they can be following along, not just on the screen, but they can take notes, because that's one of the key things for people as they're writing along. And so we want to encourage you to do that. So let me take a moment here and show the other PowerPoint and show you the one that we have available for you. As I do that, let me open it up for a few seconds of questions. No chat line is open on that. Someone said the Amazon videos are not on Prime in Canada. Sorry about that.
My follow-up question is, maybe I missed it while I was searching Prime in Canada. But what is the option if someone misses a video? Are they available? I believe they're available on YouTube as well, that we could send someone a direct link to the video if someone perhaps couldn't be out for one of the sessions but wanted to still track along with the rest of the group.
Question. I will actually take a little pause here and take you to our leader site. I'm going to go to Christian Explored Canada's our leader site. That's christianexplored.ca, which actually takes you to our North American site. But let me share this screen with you briefly. And then we would
I'm just looking for a shareable link we might give someone. I mean, in the past, there's always that one person who can't make it to a session, but they're doing a good job of tracking with the material, and we want to provide some resource for them to keep up. So something where they wouldn't have to log in as the church in order to see.
Absolutely. That's what we have available here for you. One of the greatest benefits of our leader site is the shareable videos links. And so On either, or on any of our courses, Christian Explored, Life Explored, or Discipleship Explored, these are available. So first of all, you log in, and and so this is, well, and our coaching can help you get an account on here if you don't have one. Many people do have one and don't realize it, and we can help you get on with your password as well. Once you're on our leaders site, there's a leaders area. This is the area that's password protected. And so as you are trying to run this online, what we have here is you choose your course. So we're going to do Christianity Explored in this case. Watch and share. So let's say they missed week 3 on sin, which seems to be the week that somehow Satan likes to keep people from seeing. And so you could click on that video. And what is beautiful about this is this share video link right here. You have a link right here that you can copy and paste or click right into Gmail or Outlook or whatever. But you have a streaming link that you can share with anyone who misses it. Also, Candy, along those lines, you could actually send those out ahead of time and say, you know what, if you want to watch this ahead of time, people tend to like watching Rico. And so this may be an area for that as well. You can also stream it directly on this site as well. And then if you need to have it locally, if you've purchased the videos, there's a spot on here for you to download that as well. So does that help?
No, that's great. And I actually appreciate that you can send it out ahead of time, because for those people that if they're trying to stream through the Zoom screen share and their bandwidth doesn't allow, then they can actually see it fully. So no, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, that is the other issue why we've embedded the video in PowerPoint versus what I would discourage you from doing is taking a video off of YouTube and streaming it and then trying to stream it through your Zoom, because the double streaming, it'll become amazingly distorted. Now, I'm not sure if the audio gets that distorted, but certainly it does become distorted. So let me show you the PowerPoint, and we will try in this to share with you what it would be like to experience this online if you were a participant. So share screen, I'm going to share sound and share this with you. Here is our Christian Explored PowerPoint for you. We don't have any notes in here at this point, so you could download it, put in your own notes as you're going, like questions you want to ask, that type of thing. Let me give you an experience of what this looks like for those who are going through this. We've tried to make this a clean look and feel, asking the main questions in the book. Basically what we've done is take the questions that are in your participant guide. We've put them in PowerPoint with the exception of Christian Explored with the follow-up section. We'll talk about that in a second, because those are ones for people to be done at home on their own, and they'll have the handbook hopefully there themselves. So we go from the Explore section, obviously, then to listen, or I should probably say watch on there. If you click on this, you should be able to see immediately the video. I'm going to fast forward in the video a little bit so you can see how. Okay, so you see from that, that's how that streams. After that, you can minimize or stop sharing screen for a while, or go right and go right into the discussion. The goal in this is to still be able to see people's face as much as possible. As I see participants and that type of thing, that's great. But you can also put the questions up for people as you're going through the course. So how do you feel about reading Mark's Gospel? If you could ask God one question, what would that be? This is session 1, so it doesn't match with, we talked about session 3 earlier. But then we actually have the follow-up in here. And so we say here, as you're concluding your time online, you say, hey, as you have your handbooks in front of you, go to pages 10 and 11. And there is a place for you to go through some more study of Mark's Gospel. One of the things we like to emphasize, which you'll see on your screen, is that each week you'll be exploring a few chapters of Mark. By the end of session 6, you'll have read the whole of Mark's gospel. I just want to encourage you to emphasize that, because a lot of people are overwhelmed by reading a gospel. I think if you're asking people, would you be willing to look at a gospel with me? They think that you're asking them to read War and Peace. But if you show them, you know what, Mark is fairly accessible, and if you stick with us over these 7 sessions, you will have read through all of Mark. People go, wow, I can do that. We can do it a little bit at a time. So that is a little bit of the PowerPoint. It goes through all 7 weeks, and the day away are available for you. Having the video embedded on the PowerPoint can be, I believe, one of the great benefits. We've had a lot of good feedback on that. All right, let me get back to my other slide. Then we're going to soon open it up to Q&A and try to make this personal for you. So, all right. Okay. So we have the PowerPoint running Christianity Explored with it embedded online. The training videos, we have a ton of good new training videos, which from the webinars we've been doing recently to other great resources, including how to use the leaders area and a bunch of other stuff as well. If you go to explored.live/YouTube, that takes you to our Christianity Explored leaders site. I'm sorry, the YouTube site. Our leaders site, which you saw before, christianityexplored.ca for those of you in Canada, christianityexplored.us for those of us in the States, has the course resources, including feedback forms, because one of the things you're going to want to do is, and this is true of both an online course or a traditional course, is you want to get their feedback at the beginning of the course and at the end to see where they've come on this spiritual journey. Also, I'm going to share with you one other neat little resource that Lauren and I discovered this week. This company called Go Chatter for Life Explored allows for a personalized Life Explored trailer that you can put on at your church. So let me go on here. Add that up here. Here we go. Share screen again. So this is a company out of the UK that allows you to develop your own preview of a Life Explored trailer that you could run on your recorded worship services right now, or if you are meeting in person and you want to show something at the church in the future, this is good as well. So, for instance, you would put in your church name. Let's do Faith Bible Church. And we could even say a little bit about it. We're going to be meeting on Thursday nights, starting September. I'm going to pick up a date, the 9th, and I have no idea if that's a Thursday or not, but it doesn't really matter. But what we have is the ability to download a video. It creates kind of a personalized trailer for you. Takes about 4 to 5 minutes. It does cost £5, roughly $7, and so that's a nice little service that they have, and that's on that site as well. So you saw the link on our PowerPoint. I'll bring that back up for you. So that is the personalized Life Explored trailer. Okay. Let's see, just a few other housekeeping or actually best practices. What's your next step? Think through what is your next step in building an evangelistic culture in your church. We have a document, about 35 different next steps you could take. We've created, go to explore.live/next-step, and we can help you with that as well. We want you always to be thinking through what is your one next step, and don't be, again, overwhelmed with having to create an evangelistic culture in your church overnight. It can't happen. It requires something. You're building a culture, takes time. Use questions in your online Christianity Explored. These are some best practices all the time, but especially with online. Weeks 1 and 2, develop questions that are getting to know you questions. You're going to want to spend most of your time talking about the participant, getting to know them, allowing them to feel listened to find out where they're at. A lot of times Christians are answering questions that non-Christians don't have. You can actually probably add more confusion than clarity if you're assuming a lot about them. So get to know the participants, especially weeks 1 and 2. Weeks 3 to 5, draw people in and out, going a little deeper as you get to know them. You're going to find that people open up a lot between weeks 3 and 5. And then weeks 6 and 7, you're kind of landing the plane. And that's where using the survey, the Christian Export survey that's online for the beginning, and there's one at the end of the course. And you'll see those in the handbooks as well. Actually, I'm not sure if they are in the handbooks. I have to figure that out. They used to be in the handbooks, but I think they're definitely online. Those are very, very useful to know where people are at. One point that I have mentioned many times is don't be afraid to invite people to take the course again. I've found in running Christianity Explored, most people need to take the course more than once, or Life Explored, that in both cases. I like to alternate Christianity Explored and Life Explored, and allow the gospel to hit people in different ways. But always have a next step for people. It's not uncommon for people to take the course 3, 4, even more times than that. So using questions in online Christianity Explored, your questions can be guided by subject matter a bit more. In week 1, spend more of your time talking about the participant. Week 2, you're really focused on the identity of Jesus. You're really helping them see who is Jesus. And you're going to see that really come out in week 2, called identity. Weeks 3 through 5 are on the mission of Jesus. Weeks 6 and 7 are on the call. Remember, it is your job in Christianity Explored to guide a discussion, but let the Gospel of Mark do its work. You want them to see Jesus for who he is. You don't have to give away the story. You're directing people so they see it themselves. Don't be like the friend who goes to the movie theater with you, who gives away the ending or who nudges you and says, hey, wait till this comes up. Instead, let them explore. It's called Christianity Explored for a reason. Let them explore the Gospel of Mark for themselves. And so really, I like to say, how much of your time should be spent in asking questions versus giving content? I would say week 1, you're asking questions 99% of the times. In fact, when I would lead this with our group in Colorado, I would go up and pinch table leaders if they started talking too much and weren't asking questions. I told them I want to hear questions coming out of your mouth all the time. By week 3, I'm allowing 15% of you to ask or to talk without questions, and move that down a little bit more. But use a lot of questions. And questions are harder. That's where the preparation load takes place. Our online leaders area, again, ChristianityExplored.us. Write that down. We can help you. We can show you how to use that. There's a helpful link on YouTube for that as well. But email us, and we would love to help you along those lines. So, all right. Well, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and aim this to be about 15 minutes of Q&A or less. If I really confuse you, we can be done in 5. There'll be no questions because you'll be lost. But what type of questions do you have?
See, I would just make a comment while people are thinking of questions that you've referred, Kevin, to our YouTube channel and training videos we have, but this video also will shortly be up on YouTube. So if you've got other leaders in your church that you would like to participate with this, then look for this in, shortly to be on our YouTube site.
Excellent. Ever growing YouTube site, ever getting better, and you'll be on there. You guys will be famous, probably viewed by a dozen or so people. It's amazing.
Kevin, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
when you were talking about the handbooks, about mailing them, buying the hard copies and mailing them to, do you have them in a PDF form?
They are. You can buy them on the PDF form through the Good Book Company as well.
Okay.
The downside to that is, as a PDF, it's an ebook format. I think PDF is one of those formats.
They've just
Kindle,
made it a PDF as well.
good.
Because of COVID,
So
they were trying to make it easier. Yeah.
Good.
So
Because I would recommend PDF actually over a Kindle format. I'm a huge Kindle reader myself, but you can't write in those books if they're electronic. At least I've ruined more than one screen taking my pen and writing on there. So yeah, that's why I really recommend sending out a hard copy, because it looks a little bit nicer and gives them a place to write. But second best would be a PDF copy. Good question.
I have a quick question. Have you guys used breakout rooms for discussions, for smaller group discussions?
Yes, I have seen that done successfully a couple different times. And the challenge, I'm guessing, on this would be the first week. The first week is always the hardest, because you're not sure exactly who's all showing up. And you want to be able to match up as best you can a table leader with participants. And so, but yes, I've seen this run very well with breakout groups of 4 to 8 people. Would go much higher than 8. But yeah, what type of questions do you have along those lines?
That's great. No, I think that's awesome. I like the idea of the breakout rooms, and it kind of mimics the table groups that we've used before. And then I had just another quick practical question on the streaming videos. Are those available with English subtitles on streaming?
No, but if you desire,
it depends on the platform you're streaming it on. Like if you're streaming through YouTube or Amazon Prime, that itself is going to have it embedded where you can put on subtitles. If you're streaming it through the leaders area, I don't think so. I've actually had a question about some translation subtitles as well. I'm going to reach out to our UK person, because often we have on the back end some video links that aren't maybe in the leaders area yet or aren't public. So I can ask about that and follow up with you.
Actually, we've created some here, as I recall.
Yeah, so, we've created a lot. They're just hiding.
And so we do have them. And so if you have them, if you can show us that you have a copy of the DVD or something, or that you've purchased it, we would be happy to send you one with the MP4s or the MOV files with the subtitles up there.
Right.
So I also think we have them in Spanish as well. Spanish, Korean. We were working significantly this summer, so that's why I paused in this. Trying to remember all the languages. We have certainly started with Spanish and Korean with the subtitles, and then of course English as well. So actually, and Alan could speak to this, because he's a veteran of running Christianity Explored with international students. Sometimes we find that international students love to have English subtitles for the sake of it helps reiterate what they're learning in the ESL. Is that right, Alan?
Yeah, the group that I've run it with, the internationals, we've often got several different heart languages. And what we would often do is see whatever group was most represented, or whoever had the least English skills, then use that for our subtitles. Or if nobody really needed subtitles in their language, then yes, we can put them up in English.
Good. Yeah, so just email us or put that on your the feedback form, and we will contact you if you need the videos with the English subtitles. We can keep that for you as well. I see a question here from Jeffrey. Do you know any churches running CE in a hybrid format? Obviously, a live leader and host, and people in person, and an online host leading it. I do not. I'm not sure if anyone else has. However,
I do. I do,
oh, you
Kevin.
Do?
Yes.
Okay, I was just say, a lot of churches have been running this way, obviously. Most churches I know are running it live church and then doing Zoom online. So Lauren, go ahead, share your experience with that.
Yeah, I don't think she's on this call. Diane Poff, I'm just scrolling to see if she's here. I don't think she is. She is in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, and I mean, it was a small group that they were doing this for, but she would run it in her house, and so a couple of women would come, and this was during COVID, so a couple of her close friends would come and sit with her in her house and run it, but then they also had probably at least as many that were in her house online joining them too.
That's
so
awesome.
It does work. I would definitely recommend, and this touches on another question, having not just a host, but also a second person to do all the technical stuff, because if you're the host, the leader, and you're trying to do all the technical stuff, it's not going to work very well. So if you're doing it that way, or really if you're doing it at all over Zoom, I would highly recommend that you have a second leader who's just in charge of the technical stuff and making sure that that's doable, so that you're not overwhelmed trying to get through content. So
amen to that. I was at 2 churches this summer preaching while their pastors were gone, and what we realized was the pastors were the guys in charge of all the Zoom component of the meeting. So when the pastors were gone, the elders and other leaders had no clue, and they kept messing up on trying to get their camera set up. And so figure that out ahead of time. It's a key thing. It's pretty scary if you think about the pastors are the technical ones in the church. I'm a little concerned about the future of our church with that reality. So, but certainly, I think we've all learned how to do this more in a more efficient manner with Zoom, and I think we can do that. That'd be great. I'd love to hear your experience if you do that.
Speaking of, we'd love to hear your experience.
On where the best places are to advertise.
Oops, I missed that. The best places for what?
To advertise the course, is Facebook more effective than putting it on Twitter or something, or just word of mouth? Or
word of mouth is always the best. I would say 98.5% of people will come through that. But I would encourage you to try all of the above.
Okay.
Don't limit it. I would mention it through your church worship service as well. You might find a lot of people there. I would also, before COVID hit, I know of several churches that advertised it on Craigslist, and yet we always get 2 or 3 people to show up. So there's a different answer altogether. Be creative and let us know where you find success. Obviously, most people are going to come through personal invitation, but try what you have.
Okay, and is that ability to create a customized advertisement that is on your website?
Yeah, I was going to speak to that because we had a few people asking that question. Sorry, I was just sending a link to somebody else. So in the leaders area, there's a lot of promotional material, but to my knowledge, there's not any specifically online promotional material, just because that kind of soared in COVID, the need for that. And so I just started creating it on my own and sending it to people who asked. So I have some templates. I have about 6 different versions of templates that people can use and that I can send you. So if you want to just put your email in the chat box, or you can put it on the survey form just in the comment section that you want that. And I can send those to you. And you do have to have at least some level of ability to kind of input your own data for your church onto the text, but it should be pretty easy to do.
And then also, YouTube channel, there's a trailer that's more geared toward, or an information video that's more geared toward this COVID-19 time.
I can drop a link for that in the chat box.
And actually, some of the trailers are available on our leader site for you to download. If you go under each course, so under Christianity Explored, and down to the bottom, there's promotional downloads, and then promotional media files. So the about the course and the guest trailer are there. And Lauren has some additional ones as well. So, but these are available right on, and the What is Christianity Explored videos right here as well. So these could be very helpful. They're not tailored to, they don't have your church at the end, like that one from Life Explored. However, we're looking at ways to provide that for you as well.
Yeah, the difference between the link that Lauren just shared, that's more an information video geared particularly to the online, and then the others are more general trailers. And then Kevin mentioned to one person about, sharing your story. And I would say to everybody, we would love to have stories, particularly about your experience running Christianity Explored online. because then those stories can help us in our coaching and other sharing, our communication with other churches. So please send us stories about what your experience is.
Polly asked the question, do you publish a copy of Just the Gospel of Mark? And here it is. Yes, this is tremendously valuable, I find, because as participants are coming to Christianity Explored, you don't want them to become overwhelmed with, your giant study Bible and not know their way around. What I love about the Christianity Explored Gospel of Mark is right in the midway point between chapters 8 and 9. We actually see we take a page that says the story so far, and then what happens next. It's kind of right before the Passion Week. And so this is very helpful for those who are exploring Christianity. At the end, there's some Christianity Explored resources. And so this is a wonderful, we have some folks who think this is the best gospel track, and I can't disagree with that. I just giving out the Gospel of Mark. But I recommend, if you're running Christianity Explored, instead of giving out a Bible, give these out at first, and then give them a Bible at the end of the course. But this allows them to master a gospel. So, good question.
So I've gone ahead and dropped the feedback form into the chat box over here. So if you want to go ahead and start filling that out or requesting certain resources from today, you can. I'll also email that to attendees, but that will be a bit more of a delay. So if you just want to kind of automatically get on that, then it's there in the chat box.
All right, may I have time for one more question? Feel free to unmute yourself or just write it in the box if you. I'd be more afraid of spelling something wrong, so I would unmute myself.
Hi, I just had a question. You had mentioned alternating between Life Explored and Christianity Explored. Can you just perhaps give a little bit of a primer of sort of the thinking that goes into when the Life Explored would be good, what sort of season in the church calendar where that would be appropriate, when would it be Christianity Explored? Also sort of a related question was in the last webinar, Rico talked about a 3-week Hope Explored that kind of looks at the Advent, but I haven't been able to find much on it.
Yeah.
Good question. Let's deal with Hope Explored first. Hope Explored is not out yet, so I think you may have to wait about a year or so. Hopefully, it'll be coming sooner than that, but you never know. That is going to be a 3-week primer that would follow Christmas and Easter or other times of the year that would oftentimes flow right into Christianity Explored or Life Explored. Along those lines, I'm not sure that there's a church calendar issue with Life Explored or Christianity Explored. I found they're both great entry points, and so a lot of churches alternate them. We'll run one in the fall, one in the spring. It's more a matter of who they tend to reach. And most people are somewhere in between. Math and science types love Christianity Explored. Very straightforward. Approach to sin deals with God's law. Life Explored, artistic musical types tend to like it a little bit more. It tends to have more gospel narrative. And because of that, it approaches sin from the aspect of idolatry. Most of us are somewhere in between, but I had a friend in California that we ran Christianity Explored and Life Explored. He says, Kevin, I just like Christianity Explored better. I said, Tim, you're wearing a UCLA mathematics shirt. You've studied math your entire life. You don't see gray in anything. Everything is black and white. And this is not surprising. So most people are somewhere in between. So the approach to sin is a little different. Most of us, because we're in between, it's healthy to hear the gospel from different angles. So along the lines of Life Explored, this fall, keep your eyes tuned, your ears tuned, your eyes, whatever, to us as we are probably going to be offering a sneak preview of a beta version of the next edition of Life Explored sometime in mid to late September. Is that right, Alan?
Yeah, the whole staff is going to be going through the current update to Life Explored in early September. And presuming that goes well, then I think we're going to have an opportunity to run a beta version to get further feedback on a revised Life Explored.
So I'd love to lead that, and it'll probably be about a month or so out. And so we'll be offering that as well. And we would love your feedback, of course, on that as well. So. All right, it's 2:00. Any final question?
Could I
Yes.
say one more thing? I'm sorry, I keep talking. So on our blog, tellingthegospel.com, we have about 3 articles that are very specific to like the practicals of running a course on Zoom. So we have one on how to keep it secure, managing online security. We have one on just like troubleshooting Zoom issues, kind of frequently asked questions of like, why is this happening on my Zoom? That we heard a lot from people. And then one is how to advertise online. So I guess that one's not Zoom specific, but it's online course specific. So again, tellingthegospel.com, you can go there and find those articles just for some more very practical tips. So
Great. Well, do please fill out the feedback form and let us know how we can do better. Okay, so here's the second half of the question. I asked you at the beginning, how confident are you on a scale of 1 to 10 that you can do this? So some of you may have said, I'm an 8, and now because of Kevin, we're down to a 3. That's fine, but we'd hopefully like to see it go the other way as well. So write down both of those numbers because those will be on the feedback form. So thank you so much for joining us. We will look forward to seeing you on our online courses next Wednesday and Thursday. So look forward to that. Lauren, they'll get a link. We'll be sending out links for people to sign up for those, correct?
yep, if you fill out the feedback form, otherwise I won't know who you are and what you want. So be sure to do that.
It all hinges on this feedback form.
Yeah,
Yes.
I really need to know what you want from me. Then I can send it, yeah.
And it all hinges on Lauren. We couldn't do anything without her, so we're totally dependent. So great, thank you for joining us.